What's going on, growers? It's James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. There's a chance you are killing your asparagus plants. Today, me and Tuck want to share with you 5 mistakes you can't afford to make when growing asparagus. Let's go! Asparagus are the first perennial that me and Tuck start harvesting from the garden in spring. This is an excellent perennial and it will produce for up to 20 years if you treat the patch right. You don't want to be potentially killing off your asparagus by harvesting too many when they are young. Ideally, what you want to do is the first 2 years, you don't want to harvest any asparagus. You want to let them grow into ferns like this so they can grow a real healthy root system. Then the third year, you could harvest for up to 4 weeks. And then in your 4th year, you could extend that harvest window to up to 8 weeks. So you want to think of these perennials. This guy looking at me, looking for a few to snack on. He loves eating the fresh asparagus. It's not only one of my favorite things in the early spring, it's his too. This guy just goes right after him. He knows where to find them. He knows how to just snap them all off. If I let him go, he'll probably eat mostly all of them, but you know, he's the boss, so he really gets to do whatever he wants to do. So like I was saying, in the 4th year, you could extend your harvest window for up to 8 weeks. These perennials, they're like an investment. Think about it like that. If you give them time when they're young in order to establish a big, strong, healthy root system, they will pay you off in multiples as time progresses. The second way you could be killing off your own asparagus plants is by making the mistake of damaging the crown when harvesting. The crown of the asparagus plant is where the spears emerge from. And if you damage this when harvesting, that'll cause a lot of harm to the actual plant. So what you don't want to do is take a knife or a pruner and cut these asparagus below ground level. Instead, it's safer to either have the dog eat the top of it like that, just like he's doing. Well, it's safer to take your hand and just snap it off right at ground level or right below ground level, just with your hands, just like this. That's the safer way to do it to make sure you don't damage the crown. Let me take a bite of this after he's eaten half of it. I gotta try to get some for myself. So when you grow asparagus at home like this, they're so juicy, so delicious, you can eat them raw. So let's take a bite. I've been waiting all spring for these. Well, all winter. Now that it's spring, we actually get to have some. Hey, back away, dude, save some for the humans. Save some for the humans, buddy. This guy loves being on film and he loves his fresh veggies. So let's get a taste. See that? So sweet, so tender, so incredibly good. No need to cook that. So when it comes to the asparagus, as the years progress, the crowns will start to slowly get lifted up. And when the crowns get too high and too close to the surface of the soil, the asparagus themselves will start to get a little tougher. They won't be as tender and they'll be a lot thinner and smaller. To avoid this, what you should do is in the spring, you want to cover your beds with about 6 inches of soil. You can do this every year or every other year. I just did it last year, so you can see we've got some nice, thick, beautiful asparagus right here. Not for long, but this is what you really want to see. Look at this patch. We've given it time when it was younger, and this is how you grow healthy asparagus. They're going to produce for you for, like I mentioned earlier, 20 years or longer. The third mistake you don't want to make when growing asparagus is to allow the female plants to produce the berries, unless you want to save your own seed. So the female asparagus plants will produce berries, and then within those berries will be seeds. So if you allow those berries to form, then the plant is going to focus most of its attention on the production of seeds as opposed to the strengthening of roots. So when those... Get out of there, dude. This guy is obsessed, I'm telling you. It's like, once I start going by the asparagus plants, he knows what's going on. He starts sniffing them out. It's hard to stop him. I'll give him this here. Hey, buddy, stop eating. Look at the tops of them. He's all eating. Dude, eat these, eat this, eat this. He's really wanting the carrots, I know that. So what you want to do is, once you see those small berries starting to form on the female asparagus plants, cut those spears down, because really we're focusing on the strengthening of the roots. More roots eventually will mean bigger, better asparagus that will last for longer periods of time. So don't be killing off your own asparagus plants and the production and growth just by allowing all those female asparagus to produce the berries. Again, unless you want to start your own from seed. The fourth mistake you can't afford to make when growing asparagus is cutting your patch down too early in the season. As long as the ferns and the spears still have green in them, then they're still taking energy from the sun and expanding the size of the roots and just building a bigger, healthy, stronger root system. What you want to do is in the fall or in the winter, when the ferns have no green left in them, when they've completely died back, then you could cut them out. but if you cut them out too early, you're just wasting a lot of growth. So you want to make sure you can extend that growth for as long as possible to, like I said, build a big healthy root system. Then, after they have completely died back and you cut out all the ferns, it's a good idea to cover your bed with a light mulch. This way you can help protect the crowns in the winter. Then in the early spring, what I like to do is I'll pull the mulch back. This way the ground can heat up and your spears start shooting out of the soil nice and early. The fifth mistake is not trenching your asparagus when planting. If you want to grow a new patch, what I suggest you do is order 1-year-old crowns from a reputable company. Then dig a trench about 6 to 8 inches deep. In that trench, make a mound, and so you can drape the roots off the side of the mound the same way you do for strawberries. After that, take some soil and a little compost and cover the crowns with 2 inches of soil, then water it in. After about 2 weeks, come back out. You should see some young little asparagus spears shooting out of the ground. Cover that crown again with 2 more inches of soil. Do that same process every 2 weeks until the soil level is a little bit higher than the original soil level, because over time it will settle and level out. What you don't want to do is just plant the asparagus crowns at the same height as like ground level, because what will happen is you'll be left with small, thin asparagus spears that are tough, and that's not what we want. We want big, juicy asparagus spears that are sweet and absolutely delicious. You'll look down here. You'll notice there's not a lot of asparagus coming up. The reason there isn't because compared to my other patch, I didn't pull the mulch back from this patch. So the ground isn't heating up as quickly as it did in the other patch, which is an okay thing, because now I'll have more of like a kind of staggered harvest, because since these are established plants, I'll be able to harvest these for up to 8 weeks. Personally, I find asparagus to be such an incredible plant. It's one of the oldest known vegetables, and it's said to be cultivated and harvested for over 2,000 years. It's so incredible, this plant. It has very deep roots. They'll go down 6 feet or even deeper into the soil, and they'll be able to pull out different kinds of minerals and things that some plants, they just can't reach. Another thing about asparagus is they'll grow up to 10 inches in just 24 hours. And the ferns, they can grow up to 10 feet in 1 season. That's why you want to really establish a healthy root system. By the end of the season, my asparagus ferns are really tall, and that again has to do with those healthy roots. It's kind of unique. Most people don't really know that asparagus turn into ferns. They only know them for the spears. So it's fun to be able to grow them yourself, because you get a little bit of a better appreciation for the actual kind of plant, and also for the food you're eating. Not to mention, you could eat raw asparagus because they actually just taste that good when you grow them yourself. One thing I found really interesting as well is some of you may have had asparagus and then you go to urinate and you could smell that kind of odd odor. The thing I read is that not everyone can actually smell this, and in order to be able to smell it, it has to do with like having one specific gene. Me and Tuck feel like we just got to grab one more to snack on raw. The rest of these we can bring inside and eat later, but we just want to have one more little snack. Give this guy the end piece. I'll eat the good stuff. He loves these. The amount of juice in these things is just amazing. Look at that. All that water. Incredible stuff. Growing your own food at home, it's got so many added benefits, and there's just innumerable things that's just fantastic about growing your own stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, having that appreciation for your food, it's nice. And like Bill Mollison says, the only way to trust organic food is actually to grow it yourself. Let me try it. See how there's just no stringiness in it? A nice snap to it, sweet flavor. That's really what you want to see. But Tuck looks like he's going for more. I'll have to give him another piece of this. Let's go head over there to a different spot just to get this guy away from here, because he's probably just going to want to eat more and more. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. Me and Tuck hope that we encourage you to plant some of your own asparagus if you haven't before. But even if you do have some, we hope we gave you some tips, because the last thing you want is to have an asparagus patch that just dies off on you. That's no fun. We want you to be able to be harvesting asparagus for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Before me and Tuck let you go, we wanted to send a thank you to Betty Stevenson. Thanks for being a part of Team Grow. Thanks for having your hand in everything we're doing back here. We also wanted to mention to check out the merch down at jamesprigioni.com. This is the spring merch. Grab a shirt, I mean, it's probably too late to grab a sweatshirt. Grab a coffee mug. The design looks really cool on a coffee mug, and just be part of the team. Tuck and James will be back again real soon. We out.